So good morning, dear all. Shall we start?
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, let's start. Today, last time we have completed displacement transducers and pressure transducers. Any problem with that?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, today we'll go with temperature measurement. Now for temperature measurement, temperature is also a physical quantity, and to convert it into electrical quantity, to measure it properly, to display it properly, we have to convert it into electrical property. So for that also we use transducers or sensors. So what are the different transducers or sensors available for temperature measurement? You must have studied thermocouples, thermistors, you must have read somewhere, electrical resistance thermometer, or it is also called as resistance temperature detector, radiation thermometers, infrared thermometers, silicon diode is also used as temperature transducer. How can anybody tell me how silicon diode can be used as temperature transducer? What is the property of silicon diode?
पॉजिटिव टेम्परेचर कोफिशिएंट होता है ना.
पॉजिटिव टेम्परेचर कोएफिशिएंट मतलब क्या? मतलब क्या? मतलब what does it mean? It is having positive
टेम्परेचर बढ़ाने के साथ
हाँ, क्या बढ़ता है? What?
मैम टेम्परेचर बढ़ाने से रेजिस्टेंस कम होता है.
क्या कम होता है?
रेजिस्टेंस मैम.
रेजिस्टेंस
यस मैम.
का? रेजिस्टेंस किस चीज का? Do you know what is the forward voltage drop of silicon diode? Forward voltage drop of silicon diode. When the silicon diode is forward, how much it is?
Ma'am, 0.7.
Yeah, right. 0.7 volt. That means 700 millivolt. So by every rise in temperature or decrease in temperature, 1 degree Celsius rise or 1 degree Celsius decrease in temperature, the forward bias voltage of silicon diode changes by 2 millivolt. So like suppose if it is 700 millivolt, then by 1 degree change in the temperature, it will go to 698 millivolt or 702 millivolt, depending upon the rise or decrease in the temperature. So for every degree Celsius, there is a change in the forward bias voltage of silicon diode by 2 millivolt. So this is also a property of like temperature measurement. So that's why silicon diode is also called as temperature, also used as temperature transducer, because you apply the temperature which is under measurement, and because of that the forward bias voltage of the silicon diode changes. And if you find out the change in the forward bias voltage, you can find out the change in the temperature or the temperature under measurement. So this is how your silicon diode is used. Then you have optical fiber temperature sensors. So we'll see all these. We'll start with thermocouple. Thermocouple as a transducer, you must have studied its principle. What is the principle of thermocouple? You must have studied, I think, in 12th standard or a thermoelectric transducer or thermocouple that converts heat directly into electricity according to the Seebeck effect, isn't it? This can be used to generate electricity, measure temperature difference, or change the temperature objects. So you must have studied the Seebeck effect and what is the principle of thermocouple. So we'll see that also shortly. Now, what is thermocouple? Thermocouple is a temperature measuring device consisting of, you must have studied this as thermocouple, what is the principle of. Now here we will be using that as a temperature transducer. So it is a temperature measuring device consisting of two dissimilar conductors that contact each other at one or more spots. Now a thermocouple comprises of at least two metals. There should be two metals at least joined together to form two junctions. One is connected to the body whose temperature is to be measured, which is called as hot or measuring junction, and the other junction is connected to a body of a known temperature. It is called as a cold or reference junction. It can be kept at 0 degrees Celsius or it can be kept at any reference degree Celsius. Now, if you see the Seebeck effect, what is Seebeck effect? Basically, temperature difference between two junction gives you voltage difference between them, which drives the current. So this is one junction. These are two wires of different metals, A and B. And these are two junctions. One junction is your hot junction and one junction is your cold junction. So what is your Seebeck effect? It is the EMF which is generated between these two junctions, that is equal to minus S delta T, where S is the Seebeck coefficient and delta T is nothing but the temperature difference between these 2 points, that is T1 minus T2. So this is what your Seebeck effect tells you. The same is the principle of thermocouple. But now somebody says that it is working on Seebeck effect also, Peltier effect also. So we'll shortly see what are these. The working principle of thermocouple is based on three effects discovered by Seebeck, Peltier, and Thomson. They are as follows. Seebeck effect, just we have seen. Seebeck effect states that when two different or unlike metals are, both the metals should not be of the same material. They should be of different materials. Are joined together at two junctions. An electromotive force, that is voltage EMF, is generated at the two junctions. The amount of EMF generated is different for different combinations of the metals. So even if the temperature is same, for suppose if the temperature applied to the hot junction is 25 degrees Celsius, but if you use two different materials, then the voltage generated will be different. If you change the material, the voltage generated will be different. And what is Peltier effect? When two dissimilar metals are joined together to form two junctions, EMF is generated within the circuit due to the different temperatures of the two junctions of the circuit. More or less same. Okay, now third is Thomson effect. Now what is Thomson effect? When two unlike metals are joined together forming two junctions, the potential exists within the circuit due to temperature gradient. What is temperature gradient? Temperature gradient means change in the temperature, that is delta T, along the entire length of the conductors within the circuit. So when we see all these three effects, they are more or less same. Seebeck effect, Peltier effect, Thomson effect. They are using unlike metals, and there should be two junctions. One is hot junction, another is cold junction, and both all the three are calling that it generates the potential difference. So this is a principle of your thermocouple. Now just shortly we see how the circuit looks like. These are two wires. This is metal A and this is metal B. Green one is metal B. Now this is hot junction, the temperature which is under measurement. Now if you want to measure this particular temperature, this particular junction is tied together and to cold junction, that is reference, and it can be kept in the dotted line, means it is joined together, mechanically joined together, and it is kept in the ice bath for reference degree, reference temperature, cold junction which is called as. And then you use the volt to measure the voltage generated between these two wires through your voltmeter. So this is how your electrical circuit looks like for temperature measurement. Now this is also some diagram, like how do you see this. If you open this temperature transducer, this is your measuring junction where your temperature heat is applied, which you temperature of which you want to measure. These are two junctions. Now this is placed at reference, and you generate the voltage measure uh, developed between these two points. These are two dissimilar methods, iron and Constantan. And when you see the whole manufactured unit of this thermocouple, how it looks like, it is stainless steel sheath, and you have these two wires. These two wires, this is your measuring junction. Here you apply the heat which you want to measure. This is your hot junction. Now, what are the types of thermocouples? There are many thermocouples, but only 8 of them are standardized internationally. Like you can form any thermocouple with any two metals, but in industry or in other applications, we use these particular combinations. Like type K, which is a combination of chromel and alumel. Type J, this is iron and Constantan. Just once, the one which we have saw, that is type J. Type E, that is chromate and Constantan. Type N, that is nicros and nickel. Type T is copper and Constantan. Type S is platinum and rhodium. Type R is platinum and rhodium. Type B is platinum and rhodium. But here this is the combination is different, like the composition is different. And if you see the EMF versus temperature graph, as you see the temperature increases, the voltage is also increasing. And for different material, it is different. The slope of the line is different. Now, what are the applications of thermocouples? For temperature measurement, for power generation, for radiation sensors, for gas safety equipments, because there also we use the we do the temperature measurement. Manufacturing industry, in manufacturing industry we use for temperature measurement. Also, we used these thermocouples as sensors for measurement, control, and can also convert temperature into electricity. Now, thermocouple, they are used in research and industry purposes for furnace, gas, turbine exhaust, diesel engines, and other industrial processes. It is also used for fire detection, and it is also used for body temperature measurement. Now, what are the advantages of thermocouples? It is rugged, inexpensive, quick response time it is giving you. The quick response time means immediately responding to the temperature change. Like suppose if you are measuring 20 degrees Celsius first, and then you change the temperature of measurement from 20 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius, then it is responding fast. It's not that it is taking long time to sense that there is some temperature change in the measurement temperature. And very simple in construction, just you have to connect two wires used to measure temperature ranges spanning thousands of degrees, around minus 200 degrees Celsius to 2200 degrees Celsius. So very wide range of temperature measurement it gives. And what are the disadvantages? little low accuracy, vulnerable to corrosion because you are using metals. Thermocouple operation is relatively complex with potential sources of error. Now we'll see another temperature transducer, which is called as RTD, or electrical resistance thermometer, or also resistance temperature detector. Now what the name suggests, resistance temperature detector. That means something to do with the resistance with temperature. That means resistance must be changing with the temperature. Just shortly we'll see the history. It is not that necessary, but one should know when we study the RTD. We are electronic people, so we know the little bit of history. So the same year that the Seebeck made his discovery about thermoelectricity, Sir Humphrey Davy announced that the resistivity of metals showed a marked temperature dependence. And 50 years later, Sir William Siemens proffered the use of platinum as the element in a resistance thermometer. His choice proved most propitious, as platinum is used to this day as the primary element in high accuracy resistance thermometer. You can use other metals also, but platinum gives you high accuracy. And in fact, the platinum resistance temperature detector 15, or PRTD, is used today as an interpolation standard from the oxygen point, that is minus 182.96 degrees Celsius, to the antimony point, that is 630.74 degrees Celsius. Now, what is the basic theory behind this? The electrical conductivity of a metal depends on the movement of electrons through its crystal lattice. Now, due to thermal excitation, because you apply the heat at one junction, the electrical resistance of a conductor varies according to its temperature, and this forms the basic principle of the resistance thermometry. The effect is most commonly exhibited as an increase in resistance with increased temperature. A positive temperature coefficient of resistance exists. Positive temperature coefficient means as temperature rises, the resistance is also rises. Negative temperature coefficient means as temperature increases, the resistance decreases. But RTD gives you positive temperature coefficient. So as your temperature rises, the resistance also increases. When utilizing this effect for temperature measurement, a large value of temperature coefficient is a deal. Stability of the characteristic over the short and long term is vital. If practical use is it to made for the conductor in question. The relationship between the temperature and the electrical resistance is usually non-linear and described by a higher order polynomial. Like you cannot see the graph which is linearly varying, like it is not giving you the direct proportion of temperature and resistance. It is non-linear. So non-linear and gives you the higher order polynomial. So calculation becomes little tough. So if you use platinum, then this type of response you will get, it is more towards linearity, and which is more significant, like the sensitivity is also high. But if you use copper RTD, then your response is very slow. It is not changing, and also the limited range of temperature is giving. And for different metals, it is the relation is like this. For nickel, the response is like this. For Balco, the response is like this. For platinum, the response is more towards linear. And for thermistor, it is like this, because thermistors are giving a negative temperature coefficient. Now, birth of RTD. The classical resistance temperature detector RTD construction using platinum was proposed by C.H. Mayers in 1932. He bound a helical coil of platinum on a crossed mica web and mounted the assembly inside the glass tube like this. The construction minimized strain on the wire while maximizing the resistance. Now, what are the laboratory standard? Mayer's design produced a very stable element. The thermal contact between the platinum and the measure point is quite poor. This results in a large thermal response time. The fragility of the structure limits its use today primarily to that of a laboratory standard. And another laboratory standard has taken the place of Mayer's design. This is the bird cage element proposed by Evans and Burns. Like this. small structures. Now, in short, suppose if you say in form of equation, the choice depends upon linearity and sensitivity of the temperature resistance characteristics. So depending upon that, you use the material. Like you have seen the responses. For platinum, it is more linear, but for other materials, it is non-linear. And how do you give the relation between the resistance and temperature? This is the resistance of a metallic conductor at any temperature. The temperature, if you want to measure at that temperature, this is the resistance. And R0 is the temperature at 0 degrees Celsius. 1 plus alpha T. Alpha is nothing but the coefficient of resistivity. For platinum, it is 0.004, or 4 means it is 392 ohms per ohm degree Celsius. For majorly platinum or nickel is used. And R0 is the resistance at 0 degrees Celsius. So 0 degrees Celsius, you can easily measure the resistance, and that measures resistance, you know the alpha because it depends upon the material which you are using. So you measure the temperature which is caused due to applied temperature, and you put this quantity, the change in the resistance at 0 degrees Celsius and alpha of that material, you will get the value of T. So this is how your RTD works. Now we can see the structure of this or construction of this as two-wire configuration. Two-wire configuration means it is used in Wheaton's bridge. These are fixed resistances R1, R2, R3. These are three branches of Wheaton's bridge, and this is the fourth one where you connect your RTD, which is the temperature sensitive. So when you apply the temperature to this particular resistance, this is particular material, it changes its resistance. And you first, here you have given the input power supply, and you measure the voltage output. First, without applying any temperature, with existing room temperature, it gives you certain output voltage. But when you apply some temperature, it changes the resistance, and hence the current flowing through the circuit will change, and hence your output voltage is changing. So this is, and that change in the output voltage is directly proportional to the change in the resistance, and and directly proportional to the change in the temperature. This is just a simple form, but we will see three-wire configuration. Now, what is three-wire configuration? In three-wire configuration, you used some additional compensating lead resistance. You apply some this is also having some lead resistance. So you apply some resistance which is compensating this extra lead, because when you connect this to Wheaton's bridge, this resistor is connected with some wire. This resistor is connected with some wire. So this wire is also having some resistance, and that resistance will also likely change with the temperature, which we do not want, because we want the temperature resistance to change only with for the RTD. But there will be change in the lead resistance also, and because of that your output voltage is not directly proportional to the resistance or temperature change for RTD, but it will be dependent upon this also. So we use some compensating leads for that. So let's see how it is. Can you see this diagram?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So same structure, but now here how do we see? We use the coil, measuring coil. Coil is also offering some resistance. It is offering low resistance. So this RTD is used in the form of coil. Now this is one fixed resistance A, fixed resistance B, and you apply some DC voltage or some AC voltage, and you apply here. You put one variable resistance in one arm of the bridge, and this is your RTD. So this is your temperature sensitive element. So as temperature changes, the resistance of this coil changes. But why do we connect these compensating leads? We connect these compensating leads because you are connecting this coil with wires, these wires. So these wires are also offering some resistance. So we connect the same amount of resistance with compensating leads in this wire, so that they both will get cancelled. Understood? So that's why your voltage, which is output voltage, which will be proportional to the temperature resistance change of this coil. The same thing I have explained over here. You use Wheaton's bridge. All this, in all the circuits we have used Wheaton's bridge. The bridge can be operated from either direct or alternating current, but do neglect any electrochemical changes or polarization in the circuit. An AC bridge is recommended. So it is preferred that you should apply AC voltage. A and B are fixed resistances and C is variable resistance made from constant, which has a very low temperature coefficient. Very low temperature coefficient means as temperature increases, it's the change in the resistance is very small. So you use this variable resistance in third arm of the bridge, and your measuring coil and its connecting leads are placed in one arm of the bridge circuit with a dummy pair of leads connected in the opposite arm. These were the dummy pairs just to compensate the extra resistance of this particular leads. So changes in resistance of the coil leads with ambient temperature are cancelled out by corresponding changes in dummy and compensating leads. And now your output is proportional to the coil resistance, and that means it is proportional to the temperature which is applied to the coil, RTD coil. So we'll see one example. Let's say PT100 is a type of RTD which you are using, and at 100 ohm it is giving you the resistance as 100 ohms at 0 degrees Celsius. That means your R0 is 0 degrees R0 at 0 degrees Celsius, that is 100 ohms. And if you measure RT, that is resistance, after applying the temperature to this particular RTD, it is measured as 140.5 ohms. So you want to find out T. So you should know the alpha of this material. PT means platinum. So alpha of platinum is 0.004, or exactly it is 0.00392 ohms per ohm degree Celsius. So can you find out the temperature T? Please do. I have given you the formula also. The formula is this: RT is equal to R0 into bracket 1 plus alpha T. So please calculate. Can anybody tell me what you will put in equation? Who is doing the calculations? Nobody is doing?
Ma'am, 103 point something.
मैम
Yeah, yeah, 103.3 degrees. Good. Who answered this?
Ma'am, Jagrati.
Good, Jagruti. Good. RT is your 140.5, which is due to temperature change. R0, that is at 0 degrees Celsius, the resistance is 100 ohms. 1 plus alpha is given as 0.00392, and this is your T. Now, if you substitute the values, you will get T as 103.3 degrees Celsius. That means the temperature which you are measuring is 103.3 degrees Celsius. So, is it clear how you use the RTD? Now, second numerical is nickel wire RTD is given to you, and at 0 degrees Celsius, the resistance is 100 ohms. And if diameter of the wire is 0.002 millimeter, find length of wire. You want to find out the length of the wire. And temperature coefficient of nickel is given as 0.0068. And resistivity of nickel is 8.7 into 10 raised to minus 6 ohm centimeter. And you have to find resistance at steam point. So can anybody tell me the steps? Can anybody tell me the steps? What is asked?
मैम सबसे पहले तो रजिस्टेंस का फॉर्मूला लगाएंगे R इक्वल टू रो L बाय A।
हाँ,
मैम उसमें एरिया लगाएंगे पाई R स्क्वायर।
yes, very good.
फिर मैम RT निकल आएगा, फिर उसको फॉर्मूले में पुट कर देंगे मैम पहले वाली।
Excellent, very good. See, you will as who answered this?
मैम प्रिंस।
Prince, very good.
प्रिंस
So yeah, Prince. Okay, Prince, good. So you will first find out area, that is pi by 4 multiplied by d raised to 4, that is 3.14 into 10 raised to minus 4 centimeters square. Now resistance at 0 degree Celsius is nothing but rho into L upon A. So area you have already found because diameter is given, pi you know 3.14. So you had already calculated A. So you will substitute the value of A. You will substitute the rho, that is resistivity is given to you 8.7 into 10 raised to minus 6, and resistance at 0 degree Celsius is also given, that is 100. So you will find out this L. So L comes out to be 3609 centimeter. This is also asked to you to find out the L. So L you have found out. Now you want to find out RT. RT is nothing but R0 into 1 plus alpha T. So 100 in bracket 1 plus 0.0068 multiplied by 100. Why multiplied by 100? Because it is asked you to find out at steaming point. Now what is your steaming point? That means T is nothing but 100 degrees Celsius. So how much is the resistance? It will come out to be 168 ohms. Okay. So you take down one example where you are radius is given as 0.002. You have to find out the length of the wire, and temperature of coefficient of nickel is same, and resistivity of nickel is same, and find the resistance at 150 degree Celsius. Okay, can you do this problem for assignment?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, take down this. So I will write it down in chat box. So I have given the problem in chat box. You can take from there also. And just we'll shortly see the difference between RTDs and thermocouples, which is better, what are the differences, which to use and which not to use, where to use. The two most common ways of measuring temperatures for industrial applications, we know RTDs and thermocouples, because there are others also, but now today we have seen RTDs and thermocouples, so we'll talk about RTDs and thermocouples only. So first point of point of difference is temperature. If process temperatures are between minus 200 to 500 degrees Celsius, that is minus 3 or minus 328 and 932 degree Fahrenheit, and industrial RTD is the preferred option. And thermocouples have a range of minus 80 to 2320 degrees Celsius. In last time also we have seen, in first slides also we have seen that it measures from minus 200 to 2200 degrees Celsius. So it is minus 80 to 2320 degrees Celsius. So it is a wide range of temperature. If you do not want to measure such wide range of temperature, then you should not use thermocouples. And it is contact temperature measurement device commonly found in physics laboratories. So if your temperature measurement ranges between this, you use RTD. If your temperature ranges between these high temperatures, then you use thermocouple. Next is response time. Response time means how fast is it responding to the change in the temperature of measurement. Like suppose if you apply 20 degrees Celsius and next time suppose if you change the measurement temperature as 25 degrees Celsius, then it should immediately sense the change. So that is your response time. If the process requires a very fast response to temperature changes, fractions of second as opposed to seconds, then a thermocouple is best choice, because thermocouple is fast responsive. Time response is measured by immersing the sensor in water moving at 1 meter per second or 3.3 feet per second with a 63.2% step change. It is always 63%. Accurately, it is 63.2, but we generally talk as 63% step change. Size. A standard RTD sheet is 3.175 to 6.35 mm in diameter. Sheet diameters for thermocouples can be less than 1.6 millimeters. And accuracy and stability requirement is another parameter to select RTD or thermocouple. If a tolerance of 2 degrees Celsius is acceptable and highest level of repeatability is not required, then thermocouple will serve the purpose. And RTDs are capable of higher accuracy and can maintain stability for many years. So with thermocouples can drift within the first few hours of use. Drift means even if you're not changing the input, the output is automatically changing. We have seen some statics characteristics. So if you can tolerate this type of tolerance of 2 degrees Celsius, then you can use thermocouple. Otherwise, you should go for RTDs. So is it clear? If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, you start writing your attendance in chat box. Tomorrow we'll see for some few transducers, sensors. You have to do the assignment. You have to send me the assignment regularly next week. You all know my email ID. So Prince, you also record the attendance and send it to me.
Okay, ma'am.
So has everybody written the attendance in chat box? So has everybody written the attendance? Or anybody is left?